Aston Martin may be hiding a weapon powerful enough to change its entire Formula One future. The headline claim is enormous. Honda has reportedly found around 40 additional horsepower, a gain that could transform acceleration, overtaking, and straight-line performance. But here is the detail that changes everything. The available source does not confirm that this upgrade will arrive at Zandvoort. It provides no testing figures, no release schedule, and no explanation of where those 40 horsepower were found. So either Aston Martin is preparing a breakthrough that could shock the grid, or one explosive number is creating expectations far beyond the evidence. And the real secret is not whether Honda can produce more power, it is whether Aston Martin can turn that claimed power into reliable speed when every rival is watching. Subscribe to the channel. To understand why this claimed upgrade matters, you first have to understand what Aston Martin would actually be gaining. 40 horsepower sounds like one simple number. It is not. In Formula One, extra power can change what happens at the exit of a corner, halfway down a straight, and in the final seconds before the braking zone. A driver who reaches full acceleration earlier can carry that advantage all the way to the next corner. That means one small improvement can keep growing. A cleaner exit creates more speed. More speed creates more pressure on the car ahead. And more pressure can force a rival into a defensive mistake. That is why the headline immediately feels so important. But there is a problem. The available source gives us the claim, not the explanation. It does not show where the extra 40 horsepower comes from. It does not confirm whether the number was measured on a test bench, estimated during development, or linked to a race-ready engine setting. And it does not confirm that the upgrade will appear at Zandvoort. That missing context changes everything. Because not every horsepower figure means the same thing. Imagine two phones that both show a full battery. One lasts all day. The other loses half its charge in an hour. The number looks identical. The real performance is completely different. Honda would face the same challenge with this engine. Finding more power is only the first step. The next step is making that power usable. It must arrive smoothly. It must remain available. And it must not create a reliability problem that forces Aston Martin to reduce the engine setting later. That is where the supposed secret weapon could become either a breakthrough or a burden. If the extra performance is reliable, Aston Martin gains more than straight-line speed. The team gains options. It could choose a higher downforce setup without becoming as vulnerable on the straights. That means the car could gain more grip in corners while using the stronger engine to protect itself during acceleration. Think of it like carrying a larger umbrella in strong wind. Normally, the extra protection slows you down. But if you suddenly become stronger, you can carry it without losing as much speed. For Aston Martin, more power could allow the car to carry more aerodynamic grip without paying the usual penalty. That would be far more important than a single impressive speed figure. It could change the balance of the whole package. And Zandvoort would make that possibility especially interesting. The circuit rewards confidence. The racing line is narrow. The corners arrive quickly. And because overtaking can be difficult, starting position becomes extremely valuable. A stronger engine could help Aston Martin in qualifying. But only if the rest of the car can use it. That is the first major test. The tires must be able to transfer the power to the track. The rear of the car must remain stable. The cooling system must control the extra heat. And the driver must trust the engine response. If any one of those areas falls behind, the headline number begins to lose meaning. Extra power without traction can create wheel spin. Extra power without cooling can create overheating. Extra power without reliability can create fear. And fear changes how engineers operate. They stop asking how much performance they can release. They start asking how much they must protect. That difference can decide whether an upgrade transforms a season or quietly disappears into conservative settings. This is why Aston Martin cannot simply celebrate the number. The team has to prove the entire car is ready for it. The gearbox must handle the increased demand. The energy system must support the delivery. The engine mapping must remain predictable. And the aerodynamic package must still work when the car reaches higher speeds. One change affects another. Then that change affects something else. A stronger engine can create more speed on the straight. More speed changes the braking load. Different braking loads change tire temperatures. Tire temperatures change grip. And suddenly, one engine improvement is influencing almost every part of the lap. This is the hidden chain behind the headline. The upgrade is not important because 40 is a dramatic number. It is important because of what that number could unlock. Aston Martin could defend more effectively. It could attack earlier. It could take more aggressive setup decisions. And it could force rival teams to treat the car differently. That last point matters. Formula One is not only a technical competition. It is psychological. When a rival believes your car is weak on the straights, they attack with confidence. When they know your engine can respond, they hesitate. They defend earlier. They use more energy. They change strategy. A genuine power advantage can influence another team before the overtake even begins. But the opposite is also true. If the 40 horsepower story creates huge expectations and the car shows no visible improvement, the pressure will turn back toward Aston Martin. People will ask where the upgrade went. They will question whether the number was real. They will wonder whether Honda found the power, but Aston Martin failed to use it. And that is why this story is much bigger than one engine claim. It is also a test of integration. Honda can build the strongest power unit it believes possible. But Aston Martin must build a car around it. The two sides have to understand the same limits, the same targets, and the same risks. A cooling decision made by one group can affect the aerodynamic work of another. An engine setting chosen for performance can change tire behavior. A packaging choice can influence rear suspension design. Nothing happens alone. That is what makes a work-style partnership so powerful when it succeeds. The engine and the car can be developed as one idea, but it also creates greater responsibility. There is no simple excuse if the parts fail to work together. The project succeeds together, or it struggles together. And this is where the alleged Zandvoort connection becomes so dangerous. A specific race creates a deadline in the minds of fans. It creates an expectation that the car will suddenly look different. But development rarely works that cleanly. An upgrade may appear in stages. The team may test conservative settings first. The full performance may not be released immediately. Or the gain may be hidden by circuit conditions that do not expose the engine advantage clearly. That means the first result may not reveal the full truth. Aston Martin could improve without producing a dramatic headline. Or it could look faster for reasons unrelated to the engine. This is why one weekend cannot answer every question. The real evidence would come from repeated performance. Strong acceleration across several circuits. Consistent straight-line speed. Reliable long runs. And a driver able to attack without the team constantly protecting the power unit. That is what would turn the claim into something real. Not a leaked number. A pattern. And there is still one more issue Aston Martin cannot ignore. Even if Honda has genuinely found the extra power, using all of it may create new weaknesses. More output can mean more heat. More heat can require larger cooling openings. Larger openings can disturb airflow. Disturbed airflow can reduce grip. So the engine may become stronger while the car loses performance somewhere else. That is the trade-off hiding beneath the excitement. Honda does not only need to create power, it needs to create power efficiently enough that Aston Martin does not sacrifice the rest of the car. Because the fastest engine is not always inside the fastest machine. The fastest machine is the one where every component supports the others. And that is the real challenge now. Not whether Honda can produce an impressive figure behind closed doors. Whether Aston Martin can turn that figure into a faster, calmer, more complete car when the stopwatch finally exposes everything. And this is where Aston Martin's supposed secret weapon stops being a simple engine story. Because the real advantage may not come from the extra power itself. It may come from what that power allows the team to stop compromising. For years, Formula One cars have been built around trade-offs. More downforce can help in the corners, but usually creates more drag on the straights. Less drag can improve top speed, but may leave the driver with less grip. More aggressive engine settings can create performance, but they can also create extra heat and stress. Every decision gives something. Every decision takes something away. A genuine power increase could change that balance. If Honda has really found around 40 additional horsepower, Aston Martin may gain the freedom to make choices that previously seemed too expensive. The team could add more grip without losing as much straight-line speed. It could run a setup designed to help the driver through difficult corners. It could protect the tires more carefully while still having enough acceleration to attack. And that is why this alleged upgrade could become much more important than the headline suggests. It may not simply make the car faster. It may make the car easier to design, But there is a major condition. The power has to be efficient. A power unit that creates extra speed while demanding too much cooling can force the team into a difficult compromise. Cooling openings have to bring air into the car. That air helps control temperature. But every opening also changes the airflow around the bodywork. And in Formula 1, airflow is everything. Imagine trying to move your hand smoothly through water. When your fingers are held together, the movement feels clean. Spread them apart, and the water begins pushing in different directions. The shape of the car works in a similar way. Small changes can disturb the air. Disturbed air can reduce the stability of the rear of the car. And once the driver loses confidence in the rear, the supposed power advantage becomes harder to use. That is the hidden cost Honda and Aston Martin must avoid. They cannot simply create a stronger engine. They need a stronger engine that does not force the rest of the car to become weaker. This is why the cooling system could become one of the most important parts of the entire project. It may never receive the same attention as the horsepower figure. But if Aston Martin cannot control temperature, the claimed gain could remain locked away. The team may have to reduce the engine setting. It may have to open the bodywork. It may have to accept more aerodynamic drag. And suddenly, the upgrade that looked like a massive step forward begins paying for itself through compromises elsewhere. That sounds frustrating. But it is normal in Formula 1. No improvement exists alone. Every gain has a consequence. And every consequence has to be managed. The strongest teams are not always the teams that find the largest single upgrade. They are the teams that understand how one change affects the entire car. That is the challenge Aston Martin now faces. Because Honda may deliver more power, but Aston Martin must decide what to do with it. Does the team chase maximum straight-line speed? Does it use the gain to run more downforce? Does it protect the power unit and release only part of the improvement? Does it change the car's balance to help qualifying? Or does it focus on race performance, where tire protection and consistency become more important? Those decisions can produce very different results. And Zandvoort would make them even more difficult. The circuit is not simply a place where more power automatically creates a huge advantage. The driver needs a car that responds quickly. The car must remain stable through direction changes. The tires must stay inside the correct operating range. And because track position matters so much, qualifying performance can shape the entire weekend. Aston Martin could use extra power to help on the straights. But if the setup damages cornering confidence, the lap may not improve. That is why the team's choices would matter almost as much as Honda's work. A powerful engine can create opportunity. Only a balanced car can turn that opportunity into lap time. And there's another layer that people often miss. Extra power can change how a driver approaches a battle. A driver with stronger acceleration does not need to take the same risks. They may be able to wait slightly longer before attacking. They may be able to defend without damaging the tires as aggressively. They may be able to recover more quickly after a small mistake. That changes confidence. And confidence changes performance. Imagine trying to pass someone while knowing your car is weaker on the straight.